Hello. Day 3 of the 40-day storm journey has me Friday morning having prayed with Jan and heard the news that Eric was in the hospital and having major tests done and no results. Knowing there's 5 hours difference between Midwest and Hawaii being 5 hours earlier, it just made for a challenge to know when the doctors would do their rounds and when I could call and maybe hear something. And my husband hadn't really heard anything either, so we were in touch that way. So I made the effort to go to the classes that I had signed up for. And I woke up that Friday and I thought I'll go and have a cup of coffee and I will wait for the first class to start. And I just went through the classes, and to be honest, I was a little teary-eyed during some of the classes. They had us thinking, they had us writing emotional pieces, just think of somebody and write to them. And to be honest, I was writing about some of the things that made 2011 summer hard, which was relationship conflicts and my young adults not knowing where they wanted to be in life. And I just remember crying a little during one of the sessions because we were to write a card to somebody that we loved and try to express to them a sentiment. And at that time, I wrote to my daughter Holly and just brought some tears to my eyes when I thought about how much moms love their kids and how hard it is to let go and let them be. And yet that's exactly what we want, but we don't exactly know how to do it. And we struggle as moms thinking, I don't know, this job is beyond me sometimes, and when I try really hard to do what's right, it seems to be not what was right. So I was kind of struggling that way, and also had Eric on my mind, definitely. But I went through the morning and the afternoon, and I hadn't heard anything, and except that doctors were still coming and tests were still pending. But that evening, when I thought, well, it's late morning, early afternoon for Eric, I'll give him a call. And so I called him Friday afternoon, late afternoon in Kansas City. And I was taken aback by the sound of his voice. He sounded like a frail, old man. And he was so apathetic about his own situation. And I was trying to get answers and I wasn't getting anywhere. And I asked if I could speak to his nurse. And I know with, HIPAA laws and confidentiality, I wasn't going to get anything from the nurse. But the nurse, he was kind and he said, I will go and I will stand next to Eric, and if he gives me permission, I will tell you more. And Eric, of course, gave permission, and the nurse was he was not alarming, and he was saying Eric's being tested for this, and he's on some pain med, and he seems to be comfortable, and he just made me feel a little bit better. He really did. And I thought, there are no answers yet why you're in the hospital and why you're in pain, but the nurse seemed to think that they would get to the answers and that in the meantime, Eric was doing okay. So I talked to Eric again, and as we're chatting, he said almost nonchalantly, like as if he would say, it's raining in Hilo, which it rains a lot in Hilo. So it's no big deal. And he said it like that. He said, Mom, I can't walk. And I said, what? What do you mean you can't walk? Are you paralyzed? And he said, I don't know, but I can't walk. And I thought, what is going on? And he said, I'm just so tired. And his voice sounded like he really didn't want to talk. And my thought was, he's so sick, he doesn't even know how sick he is. And he was apathetic towards that. And maybe that's what we are when we're so in our storm, we don't even know how much hurt and pain we're in. And then I had an idea. I'm going to text him, but I'm just going to ask for the farmer's name and number. And then I'm going to call the farmer and I'm going to beg him to go and see Eric and see him firsthand and tell me what he looks like. And realizing the farmer had picked him up 2 weeks ago at the airport, strong, healthy, strapping, muscular, young 22-year-old, ready to work. And he could tell me, and maybe he could get answers that I couldn't get over the phone, he could get face to face. And so I texted Eric and I said, "What's the farmer's name?" And he responded, "Alex." And I texted, "Give me Alex's phone number." Eric texted, "He's not in Hawaii. He's in Florida. His mother-in-law is sick." My heart sank a little, and I asked him something else. I don't know what I texted him, but I'll never forget his response. He texted me, "Stop, Mom. Texting is too exhausting." And I hit the hotel floor on my knees and prayed. But I don't even know what I prayed. I just remember the thoughts. The thoughts were, what 22-year-old kid can't almost text in their sleep? And what makes me think, if he's not going to press a text message button, what makes me think he's going to press the nurse's call button? I had asked him in the phone call or in the text, "Who's with you?" I don't know why I thought somebody might be there, but he said, "No one." Of course, no one. He'd only been in Hawaii for 2 weeks. He didn't know anyone. No one knew him. No one loved him. No one would sit at the hospital with someone they didn't know. They actually were kind and good enough to bring him back to the ER when that was probably a half a day out of their time. But I imagined in my wild imagination that he was lying there quietly, not caring, apathetic to his illness, not going to bother anybody, not having enough energy or forethought to press a call button or call out. And my imagination went to, he's just going to roll over quietly and stop breathing. And when the nurses make their rounds, they will find him. And I stayed on that floor in that hotel room. I don't know how long. But I stayed there until the peace came. The peace that is described in Scripture, the peace that surpasses all understanding. It made no sense. Nothing had changed. I knew nothing more than I did the moment before that peace came. But it was as if God spoke to me. And I know people say, "What do you mean God talks to you?" For me, God speaks through a feeling and just a confident understanding. And in my heart, he said to me, "Trust me. I've got this." And I was able to sleep that night. And that's amazing because I have trouble sleeping a lot of nights. I'm going to tell you what happened. I really went to bed with the confidence that Eric would text me the next morning. And this is how it would go. Mom, I'm feeling better. They figured out what I have. They're treating it right now. I'm already feeling better. I'll be out of here in no time. That's what I had prayed. That's what I felt in my heart. That's what allowed me to sleep. And I'll tell you what the text was tomorrow. I leave you with this though. If you are in a period of not knowing and fear grips you and imaginary ideas of what it could be happening are gripping you and keeping you maybe not even able to pray, please leave a comment and say, pray for me, or message me privately. I don't need details, but I certainly will pray for you by name. And tomorrow we'll hear about what happened, I guess, the text message that came. See you then.